Shall we get started?
Looking forward to it.
Excellent, me too. Well, good. Well, welcome everybody back to another DeFi Raiders AMA. I'm Degenic, and today we're talking with Kyoto Swap, the decentralized exchange for those that want to make positive change. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. And if you get us started, just introducing yourselves, that would be great, please.
Brilliant. I think there's another person of our team that wants to join as well, in at 8. If I can't see him in the audience.
He's not here yet. I shall keep an eye out, and I'll pipe up as soon as I see him.
Tom, if you could DM him, and then I'll start with an introduction. So, thank you for the introduction. It's good to be finally away. So, Kyoto Swap is a product of Kyoto Protocol and the Kyoto ecosystem. So, I just wanted to say that before we continue, because there's two similar looking profiles talking in here. To give an introduction of myself, I'm Ashton, the CEO and founder of Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol is a layer 1 blockchain focused on positive impact. We're the first blockchain layer 1 to be carbon negative. A portion of our gas fees go towards regenerative finance. We're also building to scale and build the carbon credit industry to a more accessible standard. We can touch on that shortly, but that's a high-level overview of myself and why I'm talking from a profile that is similar to Kyoto Swap. Tom?
Yeah, indeed. I started out just as an investor in the space. I've been an investor in DeFi for about 2 years. I was an investor in Orbital, and so the process where Kyoto as a foundation took over Orbital Swap, when that came about, I was pulled along with the process, and I've had a great time since.
And I'm the same. I was an investor and community member who loves Kyoto and all of the things that they have to offer and the positive impact that they make. And now, just recently, within the past few weeks, have become part of the team, and I've loved it also. It's been great.
Excellent. Great to have you all with us. So how'd you all meet and start working on this? Ashton, probably that's a question for you.
Yeah, so the Kyoto team is quite a large team. Majority of the core team are UK-based. I've met the team through my professional background, and then throughout of developing Kyoto as a protocol, I actually ended up meeting Tom and Ashley. So it's a byproduct of Kyoto how I know Tom and Ashley, but team I've got previous experience with.
I just see Inner Ape's hopped in there. If we can send him a request, that'd be great.
Yeah, Inner Ape is our COO. We have an experience in a relationship in cryptocurrency prior. If he wants to come up and join in, feel free.
Cool. Welcome, Inner Ape. Would you like to introduce yourself? No requirement. So why don't we start out, with the high level and what regenerative finance is as a concept and how it relates to things like ESG and carbon credits or offsets that we're all more familiar with.
Yeah. So refi, refi doesn't have a direct correlation with ESG or SDG, although it builds the core principles. Refi is effectively DeFi that applies a circular economy to creating a positive impact. And Refi is a powerful tool. We're all in here because we like DeFi, and DeFi allows us to have a permission over relying on third parties, and Refi allows us to apply everything that we know about DeFi to circular economies. So to our app, what that means is we would have a positive impact project that would follow SDG and ESG guidelines, the 17 SDG Sustainable Development Goals, and we would then measure and record the impact and then tokenize a carbon asset and then sell that as a monetary asset back into the Kyoto ecosystem. That's our application to refi, but there's so many different refi pros growing massively. I think it's going to be bigger than NFTs, than crypto application. So that's my high level overview. I think Frank's got a good
Can
one,
I
and I can hear he's
can I
unmuted
speak?
himself now. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to give an
Oh,
introduction to
sorry.
myself, but I was that novice that kept the mic on, right? So I'd like to add what you said. I think you gave a really solid overview, Ash, as always, but I think, regenerative finance isn't a new concept. It's big within finance. It's big within traditional finance. It's essentially taking money, whether it be through ethical or conscious investment, people looking to, make an ethical portfolio and recycling funds back into or investment back into projects that make a ecological or a positive impact. I think what's new about DeFi is that the addition of taking, whether it be reflections of NFTs, whether it be taxes on DeFi. DeFi has breathed a new lease of life into this financial concept, and it's allowed this space to become much vaster and grow with much more passion, with a lot more ease. And what we're trying to do essentially is take this fragmented industry, which is very, very niche. If you look at crypto as a whole and then DeFi as a subsector, you have refi as a much smaller strata of this landscape, and it's about taking these taxes and money into planting trees, pushing money into taking plastic out the ocean. What you'll see across this landscape, if you can watch closely, is we launched 6 months ago. Ash and I have been at this since World Earth Day. We're about 8 months, 9 months in, plus research project, and it's growing at a rapid rate. What we want to be is to be that blockchain that takes this this concept, this ethos, and gives it a home, i.e. a blockchain where, by definition, we put funds back into positive impact through our DEX, through our layer one. And I think we're trying to be at the forefront of this movement. There's a green rush happening right now. People are looking, if you look at Wall Street, if you look at the financial centre of London, the city of London, they're looking to buy up this land and take the carbon and sell it, because you'll look on the news now, right? It's Ukraine and it was COVID. Before that, it was always climate change. We're coming back into that now. We're phasing into climate change. We're looking to take this movement and be at the forefront of it with what we're building with our layer one and our DEX.
Very cool. These are great ambitious plans. So I'm now going to quiz you a little bit about the problems that have existed in, particularly with carbon credits and offsets, and how you'd approach something better or some mechanism to govern them. I was reading, doing a little research, and it seems that up to 60 to 70% of the claimed credits or offsets floating around out there may not represent valid greenhouse gas reduction. So do you think that this can help with that?
Yeah, look, we are directly solving that problem. So supporting refi is one product basket. The other basket is how we approach carbon as an asset. That's what I would say. If you do a bit of a deep dive into carbon credits, you'll find that there's so many different regulatory bodies, different market types. You've got the compliance and then you've got the voluntary. It's really hard to navigate, and there's not many liquid assets that are a store of value. Although they have utility, they're not a store of value. Now, modern projects, and when I say projects, it's kind of the generation method behind carbon credits. And again, I'm referring to like nature-based solutions and not the whole different technology bracket of carbon credits. Older projects, they have, I would say, more of a distaste within the community that look at quality of carbon credits. Newer projects adhere to better goals and are more in line with the SDGs. So to answer your question, I think that carbon will become a liquidity as you see Bitcoin. I think that the party that does standardize and create intrinsic value for carbon as an asset, and also clean up a lot of the issues. It's not just about, a percentage of the carbon credits on the market not being supportive of the claimed emissions behind them. Scaling clean projects, it's scaling projects that, are creating a carbon offset but can't track, monitor, or report their claimed carbon. So there's so many problems to this industry, and we could touch on it and talk about it for 10 hours, and we really wouldn't get to the bottom of it. We're just approaching it from a data perspective and providing, a better way to come in, verify the claims, and see the quality of the projects that submit the carbon that we claim and tokenize to be of a better quality through adhering to SDG guidelines.
Oh, very cool. That sounds to me like the biggest problem in the space. I remember an article about Microsoft searching for verified carbon offsets to buy to meet their ESG quota for the year, and there aren't enough verified, as of 2020, there weren't enough verified offset credits just for Microsoft's needs for the year.
Yeah, do you know what? The commercial sector is looking massively into carbon credits because they've become a necessity for them as a service provider. And if you do a bit of digging on Microsoft alone, they're on their sustainability arm, they write about, a new age of carbon coming in, improvement on transparency. And you'll find that Microsoft is actually a big player in MRV. So for basically bringing carbon credits onto chain and quantifying what the carbon sequestration is, and they're doing that through LiDAR and satellite. So, and also, to flip it on its head, other businesses that create an offset are really incentivized to take part in the space. And everyone, if you're a crypto guy, you know about Tesla through Elon Musk, and they have made billions through selling carbon credits because obviously they create an offset. It's a bit different to nature-based solutions. It's obviously done through solar and other carbon reduction schemes, but they make billions. I think they've actually made $16.1 billion in selling carbon credits alone. So the industry will naturally scale. And tailing it back to the point of, if you are a project that adheres to SDG goals and you want to sell your carbon credits, you would be participating in a voluntary market. And you would have to go to a regulatory board like Gold Standard to apply and go through the process. And if you look at the costing schedules or the application process in general, it's absurd. And, that's what's causing the scaling issue of actually having carbon that's readily available. And then, you have to touch on the issue of different price brackets. If you are familiar with Gold Standard, you could go on there, you can see 20 different projects, and they've all got, some of them 400% or 500% price disparity between others. So it's really hard to bring a core value to carbon, but I believe that we can do that through our application.
Yeah, very cool. This is really addressing big problems in the world. I love it. And of course, blockchain to me makes sense because it has the same problem, managing the liquidity or the fungibility of these credits that commodities do in shipping, right? And having different bills of lading, different tracking numbers for all the 26 providers that might be involved in the supply chain.
Yeah, so the shipping industry, to touch on that, and to answer your question, they're required to trade carbon credits or use offset certificates. We are looking to standardize the approach to carbon as a commodity, and I hope by doing that we can kind of become a new gold standard and ensure that there's not too many, how can I put it, market parallels, make the market inefficient.
Right. That's a great, concise, vision statement. I love it. So, well, good. I would love to talk about this stuff all day, but I realize we also have some crypto projects to talk about. So why don't we move on to those?
Brilliant.
So first let's talk about the DEX a little bit. So we've got Kyoto Swap live on BSC, and also then the layer one blockchain. But why don't we start with the DEX as the smaller of the two?
Yeah. So look, I'll start and I'll pass over to Tom. But Kyoto Swap is a Uniswap V2 fork, similar to Pancake Swap. Aligning with our ethos, as we've described as a part of our introduction, Kyoto Swap is the first BSC DEX to create a positive impact or allow you to farm the governance token by providing liquidity and exchanging, burning the K-Swap token to plant a tree. That's from like 1,000 foot. We have different products on the DEX. We have a launch pad, and we have a lottery. And overall, we weren't trying to reinvent the wheel when it comes to building a DEX. We initially looked at the balancer model and decided to go for the Uniswap V2, purely because of its battle-tested background. But yeah, I'm excited to pass over to Tom and give a better overview of the DEX as he's on the Kyoto Swap account. And fire away.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, it's been a lot of hard work, hasn't it? Like you say, Ash, you touched on that. We opted for the Uni V2 fork. It is battle tested. However, like you touched on at the start there, what makes us different is a Uni V2 fork, and so this making a positive impact is one of those biggest things. Users will be able to make a positive impact just by trading on the DEX, with 20% of the DEX profits going to making a positive impact. But then, as Ash has touched on, there will be a choice for people to provide liquidity and stake tokens and plant trees for themselves, which has got so much in the pipeline moving forward. The launch pad, obviously DEX is out there, but the launch pad for ourselves is built in, and we're not looking to just host as many projects as possible. We understand that in the space there's been many problems, and even before I came on board, or as the process of how I came on board was Frank and Ash taking on projects that had either rugged or had issues, and were looking after communities by airdropping them. And so the biggest mindset, therefore, the DEX as BSC, aside from Kyoto Foundation's vision, is making sure that investors in this space have got a safer place to invest. So looking into that is making sure that projects that we launch are safer, highly KYC, that the contracts are audited well, and just we'd prefer to make sure we list one project a month instead of 100 projects a month, as long as it takes the projects that launch that are better for the investors that are out there.
I'd like to add. I mean, you look at Kyoto Swap as a DEX, okay? You've touched on the launch pad. You've touched on what we do to make positive impact. You said you understand the vision, and the vision that we're looking to promote is probably very, very early in this space. We came into ReFi 9 months ago. We were probably one of 10 protocols, including legacy projects such as Climate-DAO, Toucan Protocol. We were very into this. Essentially, what we've done as a business is built out a DEX that allows us to take a percentage of trading swap farm fees and put that towards tree planting and environmental impact. What you have to see here on BSC is the beginning. We also will mirror this on our own layer one. You look at BSC, you look at the volume of Pancake Swap. We've got massive ambition for this layer one, and Kyoto Swap will become the swap of our blockchain. And you will use this to take tokens over from our current token distribution mechanic and move them over to our layer one. Essentially, the way I see this is, right now, we've built something that's optimized for a movement that will grow with massive scope, with a layer one that is built to capture that market. You know, you get to a certain point as an investor, whether that be DeFi or conventional methods, whether it be hedge funds, or investment wealth management. And when you get to a certain level, you look to do good with your money, right? You look to put it to work. Yes, you want an investment, but yes, you want to get a return and make sure that you're doing it and doing good for the environment. We're so far into the, you know, in about 6, 9, 12, 18, 24 months out, you'll see the full potential of this DEX. I want to say that because, you know, we're talking about vision. We're talking about what we're looking to achieve. We're looking at what refi is. We're looking at what the layer one is built to do. The DEX will become huge in that. We're the first DEX to give any fees towards positive impact. We're the first blockchain to negate gas fees, making us the first carbon negative blockchain. When you put all of these pieces of the puzzle together from a strategic point of view, we're so far in front of this movement that we're optimized to take advantage of it. That yes, the DEX is important. Yes, the launch pad. We're looking to take very few projects on. We're here to, you know, put them through a very, very robust, comprehensive due diligence program. Why is that important? We want to do that to ensure that our investment group, to our people, our holders, we've got 10,600 holders, I believe. We don't want to put anybody on the launch pad and put them at risk of losing money. But when we look at this and we're talking about what's important, it's very important to me to look at the bigger picture of Kyoto Protocol, the layer one. The DEX on BSE is only a small part of that. When you see it on the layer one, when you see what we're looking to do, this whole movement will grow. And we're optimized to take advantage of it.
Yeah, very cool. I love the ambition. So beside the DEX, I see you guys have a couple of interesting ancillary products before we kind of go on to a little more on the blockchain. You've got a liquidity management bot called the Liquidity Balance. Also the Launchpad that you mentioned, and then support from your dev team. So I'm curious, you know, how these all fit together and what, you know, sorts of experiences you've had, if any, with other protocols, you know, using these.
Yeah, so the liquidity balancer, we currently don't offer that as a product on the DEX right now, and it's only to qualifying protocols and projects. Everyone will know, or most people will know what an LMS is. Technically, the liquidity balancer is an LMS, but we only allow qualifying projects to utilize that. LMSs are, you know, dangerous by nature, but you know, if applied right, they can help, you know, with token unvesting schedules or where projects need to plug the void with revenues if they provide the liquidity. We think they're a unique product, but they should be definitely handled with care. The Launchpad, obviously, we've touched on. Eventually it will be a refi-based Launchpad and DeFi, but right now we're working with protocols and projects that adhere to certain quality, whether that be through the product and the person, and we're trying to, you know, upgrade the projects that launch in this space, if you're a holder. Tom, did you want to touch on anything that I've left off there? Because in terms of development power and assisting with development, that is something that we're releasing, I would say, prior to the end of the month. We have acquired and we're going into JV with a development house, and that will help assist any protocols or projects or entrepreneurs that want to create a product with a vision. We do offer the incubation. We have a grant program, and you know, we provide funding for projects that you know, adhere to what we're looking for. So I hope that gives an overview. Tom, if I've forgotten anything, or Frank, let me know.
No, I completely agree. You know, like the KLB was built there exactly like you say, like an LMS service, but was built by us, for us, as you could say, by acquiring staking in an in-house dev team, and that's become crucial in the growth of the DEX. You could pay somebody to build a DEX, but then the problems that come with that, or the bugs, or the updates that you need to do to make things look better, work better, add product to which we're doing consistently. We have that ongoing, and for the DEX itself, we have just for this year 20 things that we've brought up and that we could improve on, or that working with our community in general, them finding things that they could improve on, they think we could improve on. Just this year 20 have been put forward, and then we have a list of UI updates that, again, like Ash said, before the end of the month we should be pushing forward to hit the ground running.
Yeah, very cool. So I guess, and this applies both to the Launchpad and to the DEX. What are you guys doing about KYC and audit, if anything?
Frank, did you want to take this question? I suppose it's more up your interests. I believe.
Sorry. I've muted myself and got lost. Yeah, I'll take that. I think, look, let's take a step back. Let's examine how we got to where we are right now. I mean, we created Kyoto Swap. We met Tom. We met a lot of people in our community through an acquisition of Orbital Swap. Now, why is that important to mention? Orbital Swap, unfortunately, was part of a Titan, and people that were involved with that, there was a rogue dev called Goshawk, took funds, there was a refund given, people moved over to Liquid Capital. Look, we're in DeFi, everybody on BSC, everybody's aware of what happened there. It was unfortunate. People got a second refund, right? There was a small proportion of people that then went into another project and invested, and after 2 days, they also. So there's a small group on this space that got a hat trick of, and I that really got my back up. That should never ever happen. There should never be if you get rugged, it's unfortunate. There's a rogue dev, fine, but for there to be a succession of negative events is unacceptable. And when you look at the BSC landscape, there's become this common thread of, we're going to do this to clean up the space. We're going to do this, let's make DeFi better. We're looking to create the new standard, okay? To give you some context, my background is KYC, enhanced due diligence, investigative due diligence, and I've done work for a government when a leading tier 1 exchange took it to be their headquarters. I was hired by the Financial Service Authority to do the due diligence into the key stakeholders of that project. Very well qualified to look at the KYC and due diligence, okay? When I've worked with other partners that we've had that wanted to work with us on the KYC for the platform, we're very, very busy with Kyoto. We've got a very clear roadmap. We know where we want to take this. I haven't got time to advise projects on what is necessary. But what I can see is, even now, KYC has become a buzzword. KYC and audits and cleaning this space up has almost become the new way to make money in the space. And I now, through my experience, there's nobody doing it the right way. Yes, there's people that are creating software that might help the situation. But KYC will not help people clean the space up. I believe what needs to be done is to create, and when we're talking about a new standard in DeFi, let's talk about KYC very briefly. KYC is what you need to do when you want to buy a house. KYC is like, I want to buy an apartment in Miami, right? I have to do KYC with a lawyer. I have to show who I am. They have to know that I am who I am. And then they'll let me do a transaction via them. That is the basic minimum standard for any financial transaction across the world, KYC. Okay, so what's the next step? Due diligence. So when you look to take on a stakeholder to get a gaming license, when you look to take on a key stakeholder to get a financial license or operate a financial institution or a wealth fund, key stakeholders have to go through intense scrutiny, a robust, comprehensive due diligence program. No one talks about that in DeFi. Everybody wants to push and present the minimum standard of compliance. So when we talk about making this safer, that can't change until the parameters change. And I believe that when I look at our launchpad, when I look at my expertise, when I look at what needs to be done to keep people really safe, it isn't a piece of software. It isn't KYC at a basic or high level standard, and then you have to have the legal recourse afterwards. What needs to be done is to actually put a pass or fail standard. And I believe that to look at somebody's criminal background, to look at their financial, civil history, to look at their reputation, to put them through some very, very vast databases, to look for financial, legal, or reputation risk to us as a protocol, as a launchpad, is the new standard. Not changing the bare minimum. And I believe that comes and stems from people not really knowing what it takes to change a standard. You will not get JP Morgan trying to make an investment through KYC. They're going to want to know who your wife is, what company she holds, where she holds them, where she's domiciled, where's her, where are her homes, where did she go to college, where has she lived more than 3 years, what's her criminal record in that country. That's the highest level before you make an investment, right? So I believe we're well positioned to really make and we're not trying to be the best KYC place on BSC or on blockchain, right? All we're trying to do is make a safe environment for our community to manage our own reputation. Our layer one has huge ambition. We're looking to move forward. We're looking to become the green economy on the blockchain, to be a top cryptocurrency. I'm not going to accept anybody on our launchpad where our own community can go in and get rugged. So I think, look, we know, in summary, what needs to be done to clean this space up. It's not words, it's expertise. We're looking to implement that on our own launchpad. Like Tom said, rightly so, we don't want to be Genpact. We don't want to be Pink Sale. I would rather have one product a month on my launchpad on BSC with potential to move to our layer one that we vet correctly and we minimize risk. And essentially, that's my view on it. And let me tell you, I know I've gone the long way around that, but it absolutely infuriates me beyond belief when I see the people that got into orbital swap, that then went to liquid capital, to another project, and they got rugged 3 times. That shouldn't happen in DeFi. That shouldn't happen anywhere. So when I say we're going to make these arrangements with our own product, I'm well placed to do it. I think it's necessary, and I hope to know that we can make a difference.
Yeah, what a great comprehensive. And I know
Are you lost for words?
I kind of am. Go ahead, please.
No. I mean, this is one of the things when, like Frank rightly says, when with orbital swap being just another issue in the space. Speaking to Ash and Frank and like the passion that Frank has there, this is one of the reasons why I've been so on board and wanting to help and push for this, because the passion they have for the safety of investors in the space, like it's absolutely huge, and like Frank rightly says again, things like that shouldn't be happening in this space. It wouldn't be happening in a centralized space, and if they can clean up the decentralized space a little bit more, then there's only steps forward to be had.
And I'm going to add to that, you can tell that I'm passionate about it. I got into this space with Ash, I'm a big crypto investor. I love the space. I've been rugged myself. What really, really what really grinds my gears in a really polite answer is that people say we're the new standard, we're going to do this, and they're just rejigging the same old solution. KYC will not solve it. It will never solve rugs, right? And here's the reason why. People compromise ethics for money. That's it. And I will tell you this to the listeners, to my community, to anyone, Ash and I will never compromise ethics for money. If you don't make the standard, you fail. Go to another launch pad. No one wants to do that because they all want to take the 5,000 per project, 10, 15,000 per project, going from bottom to top. And I'd rather not take a project. It needs to be pass or fail. Look at the military. If you want to join a special air service, it's pass or fail. You're either good enough or you're not. That's what needs to happen at KYC. And not even KYC. Telling me who you are, where you live, and what position you hold in a company, and whether you are a custodian won't change the landscape. What needs to be done is take it the next step. Okay, where do you live? What's your financial background? What's your criminal background? What's your financial status? Do you pay your loans? Do you run companies with probity? Are you a gooder? Run this company and take 1 million in the first place for a project when you can't run a DIY handyman business. And that's what we're facing, right? Kids in bedrooms. Everyone wants to launch a project, but are you capable of launching a project in the first place? And that's how you change the system. I don't care if you watch where money moves. I don't care if you do the best audits in the world. Unless you look at that person, unless you understand their background, unless you understand how they've run their life up until now, are you capable? If you are, good, join a launchpad. If you're not, go to Pink Sale. That will improve this system.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, so standardizing diligence and ideally making it right, a pass-fail, well-defined. Yeah, that would be. I mean, and of course, the problem with poor diligence isn't just retail investors, right? That's also institutional investors in our space.
Well, institutional investors have robust, comprehensive strategies in place, right? You know, first of all, you have regulation. We don't have regulation in DeFi. You know, you want to run a fund. If you want to take 100 million from anybody, you better show that you're capable of running that money in the first place. You need to have legal, regulatory compliance to show that, yes, I'm going to take the money. Yes, I'm capable of running it. Yes, I can return the investment. We don't have that in DeFi. We don't have it in crypto. It's the Wild West. You know, we know that, right? We love it. You can make 20% a day. You can make, listen, there was a time when you needed 15 million to put into a hedge fund, accepted. 15 million to get 15%. DeFi changes the whole landscape. Finance has changed. You know, that's why we're in DeFi, right? People that understand this space know this gives me the opportunity to make 1% a day, 2% a day. I can make 10% a month. This is unheard of. It's esoteric. This is specialist knowledge for a specialist group. And that's what DeFi is about. And we're at the forefront, but it's not regulated. And of course, it means that some group of guys in their bedroom with malicious intent can start up a project, can spend 30,000, get 1 million and rug. We've seen it. That's what the space is about. Money, where there's free money, it attracts criminality and it attracts very good professional organized crime. And I believe that we see this in DeFi every day. But I will tell you this, nobody with that intent will make our launchpad. Nobody. Because we will make sure of it.
Excellent. And I hope you publish diligence standards that that the rest of us can benefit from as well.
I've been asked, and I probably will when we're not as busy building what we're building.
So now speaking of the building, so how's the Kyoto blockchain coming along?
So I'll take that one. So the Kyoto blockchain, Frank, myself, and one of our developers, we're one of the lucky ones that's managed to send a few Kyoto tokens around on testnet. We're finalising a few things with our build partners, Accubits, who have taken lead on the build to give a defined date when we can give a testnet for public. So we are making a good amount of progress on that, and I would say also on the commercial side of Kyoto too. So development all round, and the coming few weeks and months will be quite exciting. So do ensure that you're following the socials.
Excellent. It sounds like things are happening fast. So how long do you think it will take to get to a critical mass of carbon offset trading on Kyoto chain, right, and start getting meaningful movement towards standardization there?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's a part of our strategy that we've not shared to our community just yet. We have commercial agreements with different companies from what we would class as the Web 2 space to utilize our toolkit to help reduce costs and improve efficiencies with carbon credit trading. Now, how we bring carbon in is something that we will not release right now, but will release in due course. But it is really unique. I think by bringing TVL on concurrently whilst you bring a carbon asset on and back in the liquidity and creating a price will enhance a lot of the currently legacy issues that plague carbon credit trading or carbon emission certificates. So yeah, I'm excited to release that, but right now in terms of how we bring carbon on chain for the future.
Cool. We'll be excited for that. So now, before we open it up to some questions from the audience and some final thoughts from you guys, of course, how should if people are interested in investing, how would they do that? I understand you've got 2 tokens, so just give us an overview of how a either a large or a small investor might invest.
Yeah, so we have got 2 tokens, one of which is our utility token of our blockchain, which is Kyoto token. That is obviously similar to how you would have Ethereum or BNB. It's the utility token of the layer 1. It is used as a transfer of value and also to secure the net. On top of that, that is the utility token where we burn a portion on each transaction and provide a allocation towards regenerative finance projects that we have hosted on the Kyoto blockchain. So that's the utility token of Kyoto. K-Swap, Tom, if you wanted to give an overview of K-Swap, that'd be great because you're from the K-Swap account now.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, much like Cake is the token of the DEX for Pancake Swap, K-Swap is the token of the DEX for Kyoto Swap. We're going to be putting out similar uses to that out there with single staking pools. You'll be able to use that for governance, and as Ash touched on earlier, Kyoto Swap, the K-Swap token will be something that you can use to make a positive impact in the near future as well. Go on, Ash.
Yeah, so I wanted to highlight on that, right? So when we first started our campaign, it was to be able to create a positive impact or generate carbon credits at little to no cost. And Kyoto Swap is it's like a smaller project for the Kyoto Foundation, but it will become the DEX of our blockchain. And by nature, we wanted to be able to offer an extension of what we promised for the layer 1, and that is to create an offset at cost. And you will be able to farm K-Swap, and if you don't want the risk of impermanent loss, you can stake stable to stable. You can provide liquidity on the DEX. You can then farm K-Swap, and you will be able to then swap at a ratio of planting trees, and the impact is verifiable. Tree planting partners at Veritree, and it will be connected to a leaderboard, which will then record the wallets that burn K-Swap to create a positive impact, kind of create a competitive environment. So I wanted to touch on that because that is a difference to the utility of what you would have with Pancake Swap, for example. But more so, it's your typical governance token where you can stake for governance and farm.
Yeah, and Ash, to add to that, where I was going to go just before I have to hop off for another meeting is, we've put out there some sustainable APRs for the DEX, even all the way down to the stable coins being at 20%. And we plan on keeping those APRs there as long as possible. I know in DeFi Raiders there is a big thing about sustainability and putting your money where it can be sustainable as opposed to just such a degen risk. So we've put them APRs out there as set. If the TVL moves every day, we have the RMS, which is the rewards management system that pulls those back to the set figures that we have advertised. No matter how much TVL's in there, and hopefully we can keep that going as long as possible.
Absolutely, and it's actually a custom product that we haven't touched upon, but it's that serves its purpose. So it's a good overview and a reason why you should stake LP, because you don't get diluted.
Yeah, that's a neat product. First heard of one like that, I believe.
Yeah, it came around because we wanted to be competitive against like the likes of PancakeSwap. So with PancakeSwap, there you have a multiplier and you can get looted. With us, we just wanted to remain a constant above what they offer, so you're incentivized to stake LP with us.
Yeah, it seems a lot more efficient than manually adjusting multipliers every few days or weeks or whatever.
Oh, I don't think I could do that.
I've seen protocols do that. That's why I say it. So excellent. So do you guys have any closing remarks? And then if you have a few more minutes, I'd love to open it up for a couple of questions.
I think it's been a good. This is Kyoto Swap's first Twitter Spaces before we get on the road, and it's been good to cover our products. I would say that they're very V1 right now, and we've got a lot of updates coming throughout the month. But it would be interesting to hear what, if any listeners have any questions. If not, I'll pass it over to Frank for any remarks that he may think that we forgot.
Yeah, cool. Please feel free to raise your hand or send me a request if anybody in the audience would like to ask a question. Looks like we have no takers. So I guess I'll sign us off. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. Thanks to the Kyoto team for joining us. This has been Degenic with Ashton, Tom, Ashley, and Frank from the Kyoto Protocol team. Thanks so much for joining.